Before you continue this video, I want to introduce myself. If you're new here, my name is Adiba Ahmed, and in terms of business experience, I've been in the financial industry for almost 7 years, full-time since 2019. So that makes it, at this point, if you're watching this video in 2024, that makes it almost wow, 5 years. So I was a student going to McMaster University, studying commerce, specialization in finance. While I was doing that, that's when I got into the entrepreneurship world of financial industry, and I was doing school full-time while doing business part-time. And then I was also working full-time hours, not on paper, but literally in labor. Like, they would book me in for full-time hours. So I was balancing and juggling all that part-time because I am the first daughter of an immigrant family. I am an immigrant born in Qatar, background from Bangladesh. So, we have a lot of immigrants have that immigrant chip, especially in Canada, to do something. So I've been very serious in doing something for my family since I was young. So therefore, I got into the self-employment route earlier than maybe some other people might. And it doesn't matter where you're in life, you can start whenever you want to. You don't have to be ready, you just gotta get started. Let's get right into it. This mouth, open it, shout it out. No one's gonna promote your business except yourself. I made exactly around $160,000 in 1 year.
Right now, financial advisor Adima Ahmed joins us. Adima also offers some financial words of wisdom on TikTok, has 150,000 followers.
Even after building, you all know I'm not going to be staying in Canada. When I built my six figures business, I realized more reasons to leave, because even though you make the money, you can't pay to make the healthcare better for you, or you can't pay for certain things to be faster for you, even if you have the funds for it. Two, you have a cap on building, because the effort it took me to like over 160,000 to be exact. I was like, holy smokes, you're telling me I gotta do like 10 times of that to make like $1 million? I know I talk about Canada this and Canada that, but I have been able to acquire a six-figure profiting business year. So I want to teach you guys things I learned, the pros and cons, things I wish I knew, and things I learned just getting to that point, because it wasn't easy. It took quite a while. That's why I kind of want to talk about some of the things that are quite limiting in Canada as a business owner, but also maybe not, and some things to focus on if you are trying to build a business in Canada. The first thing is be in the right industry. I know a lot of people will say marketing will beat a lot of saturation, but you have to be in a business where there is proper profit margin. The financial industry, even if someone goes into real estate, mortgage and things like that, they have a high profit margin. So even if you are taking like 6 months to close a deal, it is well worth your time a lot of times. So in Canada, a lot of high profit margin businesses are within the financial world scope. I was more in the financial planning insurance world, so that created a huge anomaly business sector for me. Sprints are super powerful. So what do I mean? You guys might have heard of the 12-week work, right? So pretty much it's a quarterly work, so 90-day work phase where you have a goal and you go at it with a disciplined activity route for 12-week period, because in our brains a lot of times a 12-week period might seem more doable than to stick to a habit or plan for a whole year. So a lot of studies have shown that it actually makes sense to do so. I call them 90-day runs, where I continue to feed the soil of my business and hope for results in 90 days from now. If you are in some sort of a service business, B2C kind of business, that is something you definitely have to catch on to if you really want to build a six-figure journey. Marketing. Y'all, if you're not on social media, especially if you're in B2C, I don't know what you're doing. In Canada, because we don't have a huge market size, you have to get on social media to be seen, because not everybody's gonna know you, right? So with social media, you have the hopes that other people get to know you, especially being a business where you can even service a lot of people. So in the financial industry, because it's a remote business now in most part of the financial world, even if you're working even as corporate in the banking, you can do a lot of remote work. You can actually be able to service a lot more people. Like, your scope of clientele is high. So therefore, social media is super important if you're trying to reach a lot of people. So social media. social media. One of the biggest things that helped me in building my six-figure business. I made exactly around $160,000 in 1 year by the grace of God, and it took some time. Okay, didn't happen overnight, but it took some time. But I'm telling you all the little seeds and consistencies I did along the way. Be creative. Because in Canada there's not a lot of financial resources for a starting business, which I'll go into in a little bit later, you have to be creative. What do I mean? You have to be creative in terms of your marketing scheme, in terms of getting out there and getting your business exposure. So whether it be going to networking events, whether it be going to expos, or whether it be just opening your mouth. Like, guys, closed mouths do not get fed. So you have to this mouth, open it, shout it out. No one's going to promote your business except yourself. So be creative in finding ways to collaborate with other businesses. And in Canada, you'll notice in a lot of smaller towns, even in the larger towns, I'm in Hamilton, if you're in Toronto or Vancouver, you'll see there's a lot of other business owners trying to get their word out. You can always collaborate. More people are going to be willing to collaborate than not. So shoot your shot, open your mouth, close mouths, don't get fed. Another thing I learned, because in business in Canada, your goal is to hopefully not pay a lot of taxes. So therefore, you might have to delay the gratification of acquiring hard assets like real estate. Entrepreneurship, building a business itself, is acquiring an asset, is building an asset. So when you see surrounding people buying homes and stuff like that, and you're still building your business, just keep in mind that it is just a journey. It is normal to not have a hard asset for a while. So it might be in your 5th year, 6th year, or 7th year, but don't be caught up that, oh man, I can't buy a home. It's because even if you made, a high amount of six figures in your business, you're probably not going to show it to the government because of business expenses, right? So that is a very important thing to keep in mind in terms of your mindset, and that's something I learned. We're always in a way might compare ourselves, so I learned that there's no point because we're all in different kinds of realms of building in our career journey, wealth journey, and so on. That brings me on to the point I learned having a job before doing a business while I was doing my business, is that honestly governments do love business owners, in the sense that if you're making $160,000 as a employee, so much taxes will go into that, right? But when you are making, let's say, $160K like I did as an entrepreneur, then you are not going to pay as much taxes if you're strategic with your tax deductions. I don't care to show a lot of income on paper because I'm not trying to build assets in Canada, so I tax right off the hell out of my expenses. So that's a plus point you have, that's in your control. Just do it legitimately. Make sure you have all the paper trails for it, so if you do get audited, you're not worried that they thought you were gonna pay taxes. Okay, so nothing's too scary. There's a lot of things you can actually write off as expense. Just make sure you have the paper trails for everything to be secured. Don't be afraid to leverage. There was a point in my business right before we hit the $100,000 mark. It was getting hectic, especially the paperwork. So especially if you have a lot of admin work in your business, or just work that might seem mundane, particularly to garnering revenue, leverage, baby. Just leverage it out, give it to someone else, hire that person. Sometimes you might think that if I hire someone, it might not be worth it because you're expending. At the end of the day, that expending is also a tax, right? Of course, would you rather, as a business owner, pay to the government's hand, or would you rather just take that money and put it as an expense in your business? Would you rather invest in your business? That's what I mean. So me, I would rather invest in my business and expand in my business than expend in the hands of the government. Therefore, please leverage if you can to afford, even someone with cash, depending on the type of business you're doing. If you're dealing with a lot of confidential information, you need licenses, just make sure the PA or the virtual assistant is only doing things that do not have vulnerable information attached to it. In terms of resources, what I learned in Canada, yes, you can learn a lot about businesses. There is like city hall, municipal programs where you can be taught what is good for business. I never use them, but when it comes to startups, it's going to be a lot harder to get loans. There's not a lot of startup help in Canada unless you go and pitch yourself. There is ways to potentially get grants, which I learned later on. It was not part of my six-figure journey, but if you're looking for money, you probably have to raise capital with yourself, with maybe your other jobs, or you might have to maybe collateralize an asset to get a loan, or you just raise funds from someone else. There's a chart in the world where it says where's the easiest place to start a business, and you'll see Canada's not even in the top 10. So it just goes to show there's not a lot of help in terms of starting a business in Canada. Once you've developed for at least 2 years and so on, and done well for 2 years, you do get more access to business loans because they love to see your business doing well at least for 2 years. Then they can look at you. So if you're just starting out, it might not work. My business was running for over 2 years, but I had a transitional break in the middle, so I couldn't even show that 1 year, because on paper for that particular year it was way less than even like 40 grand, because I was in a transitional phase in the financial industry, so I couldn't even create income on paper to show for, at least for my financial service business. So that being said, at that time I actually did the Airbnb business in my transition period, because I was out of the industry on my license side for almost a year. And the most important thing I learned is think like a farmer. Everything in this life, you think as a farmer or like a tree, I sometimes say it, but more like a farmer when it comes to business. You'll do well. You won't be attached to instant gratification. You will plant seeds because you know the harvest will come later, and you'll plant seeds and you'll water them. You know, a farmer will not just plant seeds and just let it be there. It's gonna do its due diligence to put in the work in watering, make sure it gets sunlight. So in your business, do the activities, the revenue generating activities you need to do all the time, whether it be marketing, posting on social media, reaching out to people, cold calling, cold whatever you have to do. Make sure you do that, because that is the watering and the sunlight to your business. Yes, you planted the seed. Yes, you started, you registered yourself. Cool. But it's not going to move by itself, will it? So you need to be able to continue to water the seeds that you planted in the soil, and don't hope that, okay, this season it will just flourish, because sometimes some plants take a little bit of time. Maybe this harvest wasn't as high, so you keep at it. I say you need a 3-year timeline with your business to really see any flourishing in Canada. Yes, you can see well in 1 year, but not enough to just quit your job. That's what I mean. Yes, there are anomaly cases, but I'm telling you the average. You know, we are based off of the averages. It's better to prepare for a worst case scenario than to just rely on the best, right? So that being said, think like a farmer, and when the harvest comes, you're gonna appreciate it so much, which I did. And make sure, because you leveraged assistance, that will actually be able to take on the bigger times in your business. Because even if you have a harvest, let's say, but you don't have a way to capture all your harvests and make sure they don't spoil, then you might not have a harvest next year because you had so much waste, right? So the same concept with your business. In Canada, 6-figure business is possible in certain industries, specifically because most other things are not really need-based. Like finance to a certain extent is a little bit need-based, so it helps. But if you're not in a need-based business, you're gonna have to do a lot of marketing in Canada. And I would actually say, think of something that will not only service people in Canada, but even in the US. The consumer market in the US is way better. I say that because as I was expanding with my social media, I got a lot of reach in the US, which I could not monetize at all. If I had monetized, I would easily be at 500,000 right now. So when I did the calculation, that was one of the cons of doing business in Canada. Because of the market size in Canada, US, even social media little goes a long way in social media in terms of capturing clients. And because they're more of a consumer market, they actually are willing to take action. Whereas Canada, it takes more, come on, let's do this, you know, like, let's do this. A little bit of convincing, a little bit of more trust building and stuff like that. And it's not that you're trying to always be a salesperson, it's just the mentality of most Canadians. Purchase behavior is so different, which is why you will see a lot of business come to Canada and leave, because their purchase behavior is so different. But in the US, it's much more better in terms of building a business that relates to the direct consumer. So that being said, I hope you guys learned some new things. If you guys have questions, please leave it in the comments. This is my perspective based on an immigrant in Canada, where I have seen people build business in the US in my family. I've seen the market in Sweden. I have, family in back home in South Asia. So my perspective is based on the global view of Canada. I've been very grateful to build. But even after building, you all know I'm not going to be staying in Canada. I have an entire video saying why people are leaving Canada. And this is one of the reasons why when I built my six figures business, I realized more reasons to leave because even though you make the money, you can't pay to make the healthcare better for you, or you can't pay for certain things to be faster for you, even if you have the funds for it. And two, you have a cap on building because the effort it took me to make over 160, so 160,000 to be exact. I was like, holy smokes, you're telling me I gotta do like 10 times of that to make like $1 million? Thank you, not in Canada, because the scalability is so much harder. It takes too long. And one thing in this life you're never gonna get back is time. So if you are trying to build business in Canada, you can do it. Will you make millions? I don't know. I've not made it. It's less likely you're going to make millions, but can you make six figures? For sure. It's a great place to make at least your six figures as long as you know how to stand out in a B2C market. If you guys love videos like this, please let me know. I am trying to do different types of content for you guys to add value, some of my experiences. I'm going to be sharing a lot of different things this year. You guys know that, and I've been sharing already, and I'm going to be doing some vlogs here and there to kind of show you guys my lifestyle, what I do on a day-to-day basis, and see the things I'm building and follow me along, because this year the girl is up to a lot. So thank you. If you have not subscribed already, subscribe, and I will see you next week.